What's up, guys? It's Jules. Time for another weekly update of cross-stitching madness. Cross-stitch! It's been a crazy week. I live in Metro Denver, and if you've been paying any attention to the news, you kind of know what's going on. We're going to talk about that much later, though. We're first going to talk about cross-stitch. We're also going to talk about bees and stuff later. First, going to talk about cross-stitch. So, it feels like we're not quite there yet, but we're so close to finishing the FlossTube listing. It's really slowed down as far as the people that are recommending names and things like that. I need to go through it again one more time and see, but I don't even know how many we have on there. It's over 300. I'm not sure if it's like 325 or more. I get like cross-eyed when I try to count all the way down. So if anybody wants to count it and let me know, that would be fantastic. Yeah, so that's been going. There's been a lot of other stuff going on. It turned into a unusually busy week, and then we've got hockey playoffs, and I've been watching those every night, so there's a little less time to do some things. And but anyway, it's all okay. It's all okay. So let's talk about whips. Let's talk about what I have done this week. Oop, before I toss cat food on the floor. That would not be good. Oh, I didn't put... So Rainy Waterloo was... I haven't put it back up here yet, but Rainy Waterloo was the featured piece of the week. There's a tag here. Let's put it back up. Let's put it right... Yeah. Ah, right there. Can you see it? It's a little curled. Alright, you're going to have to deal with the curlage for now. It's going to be okay. So that was the feature piece of the week. We'll get to that. But first we're going to show the things that I have worked on this week. I think I did some work on Boba Fett. Boba Fett? Ooh, did you guys see the trailer for Star Wars last week? Ooh, all kinds of theories abound. I think my husband and I don't know how many times my husband and I have watched the trailer, but a lot. A lot. And we can't wait. We absolutely can't wait. We already have our tickets for... when does Avengers come out? A week from... 2 weeks? A week? I don't even know when it comes out. We have tickets, though. We're very excited. So, Boba Fett. Primarily what I did this week was I pulled out the outer page over here, and I started filling in more of the very outside part of the design down here. I still don't know really what it's going to look like, but I'm filling in a little bit of the light stuff. I'm kind of glad that I used this color fabric, because originally I thought, well, why not just go with white, because it's a basic color, it's going to show everything up. But you know what? It's not going to show this pure white that's kind of being put on there. So anyway, I'm just trying to fill in more and more down through here and kind of fill all this area in. I'll probably literally just come down and do like a half and fill that in. I'm going to sneeze. That hurt. Anyway, so there's Boba Fett. Boba Fett. All right. Throw that over there. Oh, speaking of Star Wars, because, oh man, so after I saw the Star Wars trailer the other day, I was so excited about Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars. I was so excited about Star Wars. I was so excited about Star Wars. Be quiet! After his near-death experience during the Stitch with me this week, Sailor slipped on one of the perches, and he hit the bottom of the cage, and it made a big noise. And then I made a big noise. I had to edit it out of the video because it was inappropriate. And I thought he had died. I thought he literally just had a heart attack and fell. And but no, he popped back up and flew up to the top of the cage, so he's fine. But anyway, I was so excited about Star Wars that I just stitched on my Star Wars projects last week, right off the bat. And so I'm getting so close to finishing. I mean, I say that every time, don't I? I'll put in like 300 more stitches or whatever, and I'll be like, I'm so close. And then 300 more stitches, I'm so close. But there it is. When you get closer, you can see how it's not fully done, but it's getting really close. It's right up here too. So there's still so much to go, but I mean, it's great that you can actually sort of see what it's going to be. But it's just all this part. And that's literally like the hardest part of the whole cross stitch. Once we get to there, we're just going to zoom on out. So it's going to be pretty cool. We'll get there. We're just going to keep working on it. Maybe I'll have that page done by the time the new Star Wars movie's out in December. That's a goal. That's a goal I think I can make. Well, I don't think I didn't do anything on it as well, but I keep showing it because if I show it, then it reminds me that I need to do more. It is well. It is well. Anyway, I do need to do more on it. I don't know why I didn't just jump into that and work on it, because I could have. Ah, the bears. The bears piece. I still want to find myself a St. Louis Blues piece that's like this, but the Boston Needlework site doesn't have one yet. I haven't seen a site like, or I haven't seen a pattern. Stop looking at me. I keep looking at Groot because he's sitting here looking at me. He's just happy. He's just happy. He's actually a planter. I still haven't put the brain plant in there. I need to do that, right? Right. Anyway, I got to turn you away from me because I keep staring at you, staring at me. Anyway, I really would like to find a St. Louis Blues pattern, but by the way, I'm fairly convinced we're going to lose the series. We were up 2-0. We did great. Now it's 2-2. And I'm just kind of like, yeah. They're playing well. They're just not playing well enough. So, anyway, the Bears. The Bears. So, what I've done is I gridded out a little bit more. And I think that this is the halfway point. Maybe this right here somewhere is the halfway point, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's a little further. So I put in a bunch more of these like burnt orange. This is like the color 900. And then I came through here and I did some of this, which is the eye, the top of the eye. I brought this part over here and a little bit over there, and I filled in a little more over here. So I just kind of piecemealed it this week just to kind of make it kind of develop a little bit more. So it's all good. It's all good. It's coming along. It's coming along. All right, what do I got here? Let me show you Old World Map 2, because I did get some more progress done on that, but I got to pull the needle out first so that I don't hurt myself while I show you. So I was working on this just the other night. So I got a little bit more of the blue. I'm really just confetti stitching down here too, which I know I hate that word too, but there's so much of like these columns that are coming through that also need to go all the way through here. So there's so much of the same colors through most of this that I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch everything. Sailor! Sailor! Gosh, children. Anyway, he's going to be so mad at me. So anyway, so I decided just to go ahead and do that. I have a couple colors that I still need, but for the most part, it's coming in so nicely. It just needs more stitches. But it's nice that you can see the columns, really. Isn't that cool? That's so cool. It's really kind of sad about the whole Notre Dame Cathedral situation. But they'll rebuild, you know, and what's cool is that, you know, I mean, if you look at it this way, you know, there were people that originally constructed the Notre Dame that, you know, they've been dead for hundreds of years, and there are now people that will help reconstruct portions of the cathedral, and they'll be able to look at it and be like, yeah, I helped build that, and it's a beautiful thing, and it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll still look just as beautiful as it did, and hopefully be even safer from fire down the road. My husband and I were a little especially interested because they have 3 beehives on the top, somewhere on one of the roofs that did not burn, and I don't know how long they've had them there, but we had known that there were some beehives. There were 3 of them, and they didn't look like they were actively. I mean, it looked like they probably were in the. They weren't in the honey producing phase, let's just say that, because the beehives themselves were fairly small in stature. So, and the bees apparently bugged out. So, with all the smoke, that usually will drive the bees away. And so when they actually got up on top of the roof where those beehives were, they were smoke stained and whatnot, and the bees were gone. So they got away, and hopefully they swarmed someplace else. So somebody is going to be getting themselves some bee swarms from Notre Dame, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can see the pictures. They're just Google beehives on top of Notre Dame Cathedral, and it'll be right there. So, all right, we got a couple more to show you. I'm going to start by showing you what the focus piece of the week was, which was Rainy Waterloo Place. You'd think I'd remember it since I just put it up here. I don't know if I want to take it out. I'll take it out of the hoop because I finished the one page and I started on the other page, and then I did the other page, and then the first page, and then the last. No, anyway. La 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 la. All right, here we go. So made some progress. Made some decent progress. Probably got about 1, 2, 3, maybe 400 stitches or so. Probably more than that done. And just stitching away. Just stitching away. But if we pull it back, it's still hard to see. You're not going to be able to pick out that these are buildings over here until far more of this is done. Because it just sort of starts, the top of them are up here, and then it sort of fades more down here. But, yeah. Yep. It's coming in, kids. It's coming in. It's coming in! It's getting there. It's getting there. So, now that we've done that, the thing flipped. It scared me. Now that we've done that, the focus piece of the week, let me stab the needle back in that project, is Reaper. And I did work on Reaper this week, so I'm excited. Will I finish the page? Woo. If I get more work done. So here we are. We are so close to finishing this page, and it's going to be crazy having the whole top row done. But I worked mostly this week on this particular section right here. This is just another one of those like rows or layers of this cowl that he's wearing, or shroud, or whatever you want to call it. So I was just filling in a specific color through there, and then there's just a bunch of different colors now, blah, blah, blah. So I can fill all that in, and it's going to just look so much different, because I'm definitely going to start by filling in all this up here. So I'll definitely get all that done, and then hopefully I'll be able to finish the rest of it. So that is going to be cool! That is going to be cool. So, and then we've got, it's really going to be pretty amazing when it's done. Pretty amazing. I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Huh, interesting. Anyway, I can count. So there's that. I did not work on any other piece this week. We had a lot of stuff going on, and so that's where we are. We'll get to all that in just a second here. But so the focus piece of the week is Reaper. And I got everything else to do. I guess you could almost say that I've been in a little bit of a lull, or it's not burnout, it's just I haven't been as excited to stitch. And we all go through that. You know, you cannot be incredibly excited for something all the time. You have to pull it back, because if you force yourself to do something, even though you love it, if you force yourself to maintain a high level of attention and excitement towards something, you run the risk of burning yourself out over it, having your love for that turn into more of despisal in a way, and not wanting to work on it for quite a lot of time. What's the longest you guys have ever gone without stitching since you began stitching? I think once I went almost 6 months without stitching. It was definitely many years ago. I'm not sure which project I was working on at the time, but I just wasn't excited to stitch. And I must have been playing video games. I was probably playing video games and doing other things at the time, and just didn't care to stitch. And somehow got back into it one day, and off I went. But, you know, you can't 100%. I mean, since I've been doing this channel for over 2 years, I mean, I've been stitching pretty consistently all the time And there are definitely weeks, and you can tell based on how much I show, whether or not I've either had enough time or just didn't feel like stitching very much. And I gotta tell you, like, this past week was definitely didn't feel like stitching very much, boys. Just happens, you know. There are just other things that took my attention and that I had to do, and good things, you know, good things. But so even with hockey, like, I stitched a ton on Sunday and watching hockey and whatnot, but then like Monday and Tuesday, I wasn't. I've kind of gotten into this thing where I'll actually sit at my computer and the TV is like kind of behind me a little bit, so that I'm not watching it all the time. And I do that. Sometimes I do that because the Blues games are very emotional, and when I'm really excited about it and I'm positive about it, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm the whole time. But the last couple of games, like game 3, you could see they didn't have it coming out of the gate, and Winnipeg was just just playing a lot better and a lot more hyped up. And so I knew we weren't going to win that game. But then last night it was just, we couldn't push through. And so now I'm scared we're going to lose the whole series. And so it's just a common thing when you're a St. Louis Blues fan. But we got the draft next week. It's going to be awesome. That I'm excited about. That's a lot of sitting in front of the TV. Well, at least for Thursday, the first day of the NFL draft. But anyway, so I know you're all sitting here because you don't care about cross stitch. You want to hear about the bees, right? Hear about the bees. So what happened with the bees this past week? Nothing happened with the bees this past week. So we were all set to get the hive mover and go down on Saturday night and move the hives and get that all taken care of, because on the 27th, the 27th, so a week from this coming Saturday, is when our bees are coming in. And so we wanted to move the hives and have time to get everything ready and da-da-da-da. Well, Mother Nature said no. And we had a couple surprise little snowstorms that happened both here and down there. And we didn't really feel like attempting to move the hives when it was a pretty decent potential that we might get stuck in mud. And considering that we were going to be moving the hives late at night, we decided to change the moving time to more like about 10 o'clock at night versus 4 o'clock in the morning, because it's just better for us, overall, and easier. And so I think it was like we really weren't sure until about Friday night that it just wasn't going to happen. And it worked out fine, because it surprisingly snowed Saturday morning and then snowed again like Saturday night. And didn't snow a lot, but it was like, well, this wasn't expected. So we just said, that's fine. We still have 2 weeks, so we'll just take care of it. And it's no big deal, right? Well, then we got an email. And we got an email from the store where we get our beehives from. Or not beehives, but, well, we do get the beehives from them, but where we get our new collection of bees. So, like, they come in, I'm not great explaining this. I want to say it's a nuke that we're getting, which is basically a queen with a box of about 10,000 bees. And this is how we've always populated our hives. We've just bought nukes, installed them into, we've done a video on it and everything, but installed it into a new hive, and that's how we've been doing it. Well, apparently there have been problems. Frequently there is a migration of professional beekeepers, basically commercial beekeepers, especially ones that propagate females, that take them from like the Colorado area, and then there's a bunch of them that go out to California for what would be the winter for most everybody else. They go out there and they help with all the crops, because obviously California is a very high produce and other vegetable and just, everything state. So they go out there, and because the bees are so active and so successful, that is where they actually propagate more bees, meaning that there is a way that you can actually manipulate the hive to create new queens. And you can take them from the hive before they hatch and then put them in a new... It's a whole thing. I had a class on it last week. You'd think I'd be able to talk about it better, but if my husband was here, he'd be able to do it. But anyway, they're able to do that. Well, the problem was that it wasn't the fires in middle and southern California. It was the extensive rains they've had this spring in the northern California area. And because of the extensive rains, they have not been able to propagate the kind of queens that they normally do. And so because of that, they're like, we're not going to be able to actually deliver nearly the amount of queens that you guys ordered, which is very scary for us because we need them. And so the store called around and trying to find other companies that may have bees that they can, can you please bring us bees, bring us queens, because, we need them. And sure enough, they found somebody, which was awesome. The downside, they're coming next Sunday, not 2 weeks from Saturday. So a little earlier than expected. And so we have a lot less time to prepare for them, which is fine. And so my husband's actually taking off from work tomorrow and Friday, and he's going to spend some time down where the bees are, where the new site's going to be, and he's going to install the new beehives, get them leveled, get them all set up, get them ready. And then Saturday night, again, we're going to still plan on getting a hive mover and going out there late in the evening, moving the 4 hives that we need to move, and then Sunday morning we'll go back to the store, return the hive mover, and then pick up our new queens and our nukes, basically. Go back out to the, it's going to be a lot of driving, because the store and the hives are probably about an hour and 15 minutes apart. So a lot of back and forth. And so then, but we'll have it done, probably certainly by about 10 or 11 o'clock Sunday morning, we'll have the bees done, and we'll be able to get them all installed, and then it's just like, take off. So, yeah, so everything kind of changes, but you got to kind of roll with it, and especially when it comes to beehives and whatnot, because, there's no, there's any book that you read is just the basic understanding, and it's not really until you get into it that you kind of go through all the variables and the different things that can happen, and then you can, that's when you really learn. And we've learned a lot by having things happen, and that, we'll be okay from them and whatnot. So anyway, so we'll shoot some video this weekend and probably put it up on the Bee channel, and I will link you guys to that when we finally get there. So it'll be totally okay. Outside of that, oh yeah, crazy person. So for those of you who don't pay attention to the news, good for you guys, by the way. I think that's an excellent idea. So I work with a bunch of mothers of kids that are in like middle schools, high schools, things like that. And yesterday and today it was very nerve-wracking. So in case you guys didn't hear, we live about a half an hour, maybe 25 minutes away from Columbine High School, where they had one of the first major notorious school shootings way back in the day. And so it's the 20th anniversary coming up on Saturday. So the whole state's kind of been, not the whole state, but Denver has been sort of on edge for the last week or so, because that's not an anniversary that anybody likes to remember around here. I was not here during that. I was still in vet school. I was just getting ready to start my senior year when it happened. And I had a close friend that actually lived about 10 minutes away from Columbine when it happened. And but I didn't know anybody that was involved in it. But anyway, so between that and the Aurora, Colorado movie theater shooting, which is about 20 minutes that direction, and I've been by that many times, and that was it's I don't know why we have, this is a great state. I don't know why we have like more than our fair share of mass shootings, but it was a really scary 24 hours here. And what happened was basically this 18-year-old girl who is obsessed with the shooters of Columbine, and basically boarded a plane from Miami and landed here in Denver yesterday at some point, and was transported, I'm guessing like an Uber or some other thing. Took her over to southwest Denver area. Not exactly the right neighborhood for Columbine, but not terribly far away either. Where she then went into a gun store. Why do I say gun store? Maybe that's right. But anyway, went into a place where they sell guns and bought a shotgun and a bunch of ammunition. And then she was dropped off in a little further west where the foothills, or which are the smaller mountains in front of the big mountains, dropped her off kind of in a, I guess, more remote area and whatnot. And thankfully the FBI had kind of been watching her because of things that I guess she had said or done or whatever. And when she actually flew out here and then bought a gun, they said, hey, Denver, this is going on. We thought you'd like to know. We're going to help catch her, but we thought you'd like to know. So yesterday, when the news broke about it, and this was actually before the news broke about her, all they said was Denver metro schools are in lockdown. And this thankfully happened like after classes were over. So it just involved all the kids that were in after-school activities or that had games or things like that. They just said, nope, not having it. Parents had to go pick everybody up. And it's not like this doesn't happen here. I know it happens everywhere, but every time it happens, some idiot phones in a bomb threat or a gun scare threat, and it does happen. Everybody goes hypervigilant and very sensitive because of the history. So, and even, because you just don't know what's going to happen. It could happen anywhere. And so, anyway, they couldn't catch her all night long, and I guess this late morning today, whatever, I don't know if they found her or they shot her. Anyway, she's dead, and she had gone straight west and gone up to the base of Mount Evans, which is actually the tallest peak in Colorado. It's like almost 15,000 feet. It's very, very high. And maybe it's over 15,000. I don't know. Anyway, but they closed schools everywhere today. Like, they closed, every Denver metro school was closed, and it was closed up the foothills all the way up to Fort Collins, which is on the northern end of the state. There's a lot of closures. And it was just scary. It's just scary here. And it's just, I trust me, if you're from another country and you're thinking, wait a minute, how can you fly in as an 18-year-old into a new city, a new state, and buy a shotgun and carry it out of the store? I'm kind of wondering that myself. I didn't actually realize you could do that. So, anyway, I'm not being political here. And if you try to be political in my comments, I will delete you. I have no qualms about that. But it is something that has, last night it was very worrisome. And I worried more for, like, what if she walks into a grocery store? What if she goes into a hospital? What if, all these different things and she wants to make a statement? It's just, I'm more worried for my fellow citizens than I am. I'm nice and tucked in here at home with a bunch of dogs around me. I don't think anything's going to happen. So, but it's just, I just worry about everybody else. So, anyway, from a perspective of a Coloradoan who loves the state and loves the people in the state, and I don't know. Anyway, everybody can breathe a little easier. We still have the anniversary coming up in a few days, and it's still very sad, and it still hangs very heavy